everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This one is going to be part of the update on philosophy series, but I'm not exactly sure what to call this one per se, because this one necessarily doesn't have a name, so I'll have to give it one. More or less, it's a philosophy from a philosopher himself, less than a named philosophy. I think I'm gonna go and call it the Shadow World, but the update, or I think I'll call the video an update on philosophy, the Shadow World, but that's not exactly final, and I'm not sure. Anyways, I would like to talk about a little bit about Plato's philosophy. Plato was a Greek philosopher, and one of his philosophies he had was that the world that we live in is a shadow world, and that the concept of everything like justice, beauty, things that actually exist somewhere else. You know, kind of how like the theory, there's like this theory back in the day where like, oh, when you're dreaming you go to another universe or whatever. It's kind of like that, except when you're dreaming you're in the real world, and then when you're not dreaming, this is the dream. Like, this is the dream world. I think it's a pretty interesting concept. Now, there's quite a few things that go along with that little theory there. See, the philosophy of that is true. A lot of people have dreams in other places, and many cultures and many groups of people throughout history have believed that either the world that they see when dreaming, or necessarily unconscious from whatever reason due to maybe illicit substances, sleep, or whatever, is that is another plane of existence. Now, I can't confirm or prove that it's not. The same as I can't confirm or prove whether life after death is real. People who have died have come back and said that they have seen things, but as the same as there's people that have died and went and came back and said they seen nothing. So as much as I can't prove it, it's still an interesting philosophy. I don't see it being possible, but it could be. Think about it. Some people, not everybody, or maybe just not everybody knows how to read dreams properly. Some people do notice correlation with dreams they have and things that happen in the real world. And that's where the whole belief that dreams mean something come from. Whether they mean that they're trying to warn you of something in your life, or they're trying to prelude to an event that is going to happen. That is going to happen. But I don't think that's necessarily real either. Because if that was true, well, if the brain, as complex as it is able to do so many complicated and different things, why would it not be able to, you know, maybe be a little bit more descript about, you know, telling this instead of being like a foreshadowing idea? Now, the whole concept that there could be a reality somewhere else, whether it be through when you go to sleep or in the afterlife, that's when you actually go on to this real reality. Well, either way, that's a pretty cool concept. I don't exactly understand how that would work. Like, I'm not a genius. Again, while I'm making these videos, I do want that to be a statement that you guys understand that I'm not a genius. I'm a normal man, flesh and blood. I'm not a genius. I'm not some guy that's thinking above everybody else. No, these are things that I feel and things that I want to talk about and put out there. But in saying so, I don't understand how that would work. Give me a second here. Okay, well, that's great. That being said, the other part of his philosophy where it goes into is where I think he was more or less trying to get to with it, is that he believes that these souls are eternal. Whatever that's in you is eternal. Like, your being, you, is eternal. And you will go on forever through endless cycles, whether it be here on Earth or somewhere else far off in a place that the mind can't even comprehend or understand, which is very possible. But again, that is something that we cannot prove as humans. And see, as much as humans are smart, we develop nuclear technology that can get to the, you know, be able to like produce the same heat as the sun. We are able to understand complex and really deep thoughts and do all this great and cool stuff, build cars and vehicles that are able to travel through the world, metal planes, like metal hunks of metal that are able to hurl through the sky. As much as we're able to do all that, there are still limits to our body. For example, people always wonder when we'll reach light speed. That's not something I think we can reach, because even if we could technically reach that, our bodies would not be able to handle that. I'm pretty sure you start getting up above 3 Gs, you start getting into risk of like breaking your neck and stuff like that, especially if you don't do it properly, and you have to like hoof, hoof, hoof. There's like blood through your head. Just like it's just, there are some things that the body is not able to comprehend. So there could be some place out there that the body and mind could never comprehend and would never be able to prove, and we could never build the technology to even prove such a thing to be real. But that being said, that doesn't mean it doesn't have any less weight. It could be very true. As I said, there's been cultures and peoples and groups of people for centuries and thousands of years that have believed that what they've seen in their dreams was either warnings of things to come in life, or were pre-telling events that were to happen, or they actually see the event that was going to happen in their dreams. Now, this could just be the mind, you know, just like when you're in the dark room and you see a coat on the wall and it looks like a person standing there. This could be the same kind of idea where the brain is just kind of, the dream was similar, and because dreams tend to be foggy after a couple hours and they don't tend to stick in the mind as well, maybe you're just misremembering the dream per se in your thinking. But again, it's something that no one can prove or disprove, and I think it's a pretty cool thing to think on. See, that's the thing. This is a theory. It's not like it's something that's real, and it's a philosophy. Again, a philosophy can be a thing and can have absolute zero actual like basis behind it. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that this one doesn't. I think this one fully does. For example, people have died and come back and said they've seen the afterlife. People have said that they can see dreams, or like can read life from dreams. There are those cases, but I do have to acknowledge there are cases on the other side of the fence that people don't see these things, and people don't, after they die, come back and say they've seen things. They say there was nothing. Now, people could be misremembering, people could be hallucinating. That's on either side of the fence there. But it still stands to point. This is a pretty interesting philosophy. And whether you believe in it or not, it's still cool to think about. It's one of those things that can get your mind working. You know, I'm a big believer that thinking about things is a mind exercise, as much as doing a pop quiz or something like that is a brain exercise. So I'm really hoping you guys can take this video and, you know, you just think about the topic itself and maybe exercise you guys' minds on it. I'd love to hear a discussion in the comments about it, or like see one. And see what you guys' thoughts are on this, because I do truly think this is an interesting concept. But as much as I find it interesting, and I would truly love to believe in this one, as much as there's no evidence to prove it, there's no evidence to not prove it. So I can't really sit on one side of the other fence and say that's fact. And that's part of my channel. I want to be honest. I'm not going to come to you guys and tell you something that's real, not real. I tell you the philosophy. I give you guys my like perception on it and why, like, my thoughts on it, and I hope you guys end up having your thoughts and stuff like that in the comments, because as I said, one of the main reasons, and I don't know if I've said this on the channel yet, but I've told several people that I have told that I do this. I'm doing this because I enjoy seeing other people's, like, necessarily through their eyes on the topic per se. I like hearing their perspective and how they think on it, because that doesn't make me mad when somebody has a different belief than me. It actually, that's what interests me. People from different backgrounds, from different beliefs, from different sexualities, we all have different reasons to believe something different, and it's kind of interesting to see what things may have added up to one's beliefs, or where one gets their beliefs from, or how one believes that thing. Anyway, so that was my video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe. I'm just going to let this play out for the rest of this. Consider this like the outro. I know I basically spoke this up, but anyways. Love you guys. Thanks for all the views. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the comments. And peace.